Partners 2 years ago. Redo Partners was founded more than 10 years ago by Yanni Siivola. I became a consultant because I generally like to help people, and I've noticed through my experience that and my age that people started asking questions about and opinions about certain topics. Why they have been started to ask questions. I have been active in different industries. I've been living in Finland for the last 20 years. I was born in Belgium. I lived also in France, studied advertising and marketing in France and Belgium. And I founded my first company when I was 17. My second company I started when I was 18. And yeah, there's no better school than in business than founding a company and starting it up from zero, go through the struggles and become successful. In Finland, I have founded about 15 companies. If I count the companies and the projects I've been involved with, it's around 25 different companies, most of them in travel industry. In the north of Finland. The most known project I was involved is Arctic Light Hotel. Arctic Light Hotel was founded in 2015. We started working on it in 2013, and we had the goal to make first the best hotel in Lapland, and then we changed that. Well, why not the best hotel in Finland? And 1 year after opening, TripAdvisor and Trivago announced us to be, we were in the top 3 of best hotels. And 3 years after the opening, we were the best hotel in Finland, announced by Trivago. So very pleased with that. This involved a lot of different thinking, marketing and pricing wise. Also a lot of creativity because we were on a budget. Other project I'm involved with at this moment is Hotel Isosöte in Finland. This hotel is known because after being totally refurbishment which took 5 years, the hotel burned down on the night it was finished and opening for the Christmas season. So the hotel was rebuilt and almost finished, and then COVID came. So a lot of challenges there. But this hotel was also the first cycling hotel in Finland. I have a background in sports, in many endurance sports, but also cycling. And a lot of my background is in travel, but I also have background in importing business. I have an importing business in textile, in cycling and triathlon textile. Company is called BioRacer. And we're market leaders since 15 years in Finland in customized clothing for companies and clubs. Then I do also importing of art, and I have an art rental company, an art gallery in Rovaniemi. I have a new event. The first company I founded was when I was 17 years old, was an event company. And now I again have an event company, and our biggest event is the Saima Cycle Tour. We organized a Saima Cycle Tour, which is a cycling event in Imatra in the south of Finland. We organized it for the first time in July. Very challenging because of COVID, but we're happy to have more than 1,000 participants, which was a success if you consider the COVID situation. Interesting about the Saima Cycle Tour is that the pricing wise, our participation fee is more than double the price than other competing events in Finland. So our standard price is 150, and a month before the event it's 170 euro. Other events are 70 to 80 euro, and sometimes early bird as cheap as 30 to 50 euro. So that's a case I will not talk much about today, but it's maybe good for you to know if you have events, an event background. So here you can see the Redo team. The big guy in the middle is Yanni Sivola, the founder. I'm on the left. Thea is our digital consultant, and also Marianne is very involved in digital marketing, content management, Google optimization, Facebook advertising, and analysis. So then we go to the meat and potatoes. Strategic pricing. Actually, this could be the end slide, and I want you to consider this. If you can go one slide back. Pricing is about customer value. So what I want you to do today is open your mind for pricing. I will give a lot of examples, and these examples I hope will inspire you to rethink your pricing. Pricing strategies, there's so many, so you will be able to mix them up. So I hope you can add some spice to the pricing ingredients you already have for your business. So I want you to search for different models, for different ideas. I want you to give comments, maybe ask questions. Hey, what about this in this business? So we can react to that. So please be active. So we'll talk about market position and segments, about pricing models, and then, as mentioned earlier, value. Next slide. What is pricing? Pricing definitions. Normally, when there would be an audience, I would ask people, and there would be a lot of different definitions. Some definitions you see here. Pricing determines the cost paid by a customer, but it may or may not be tied to the cost paid by the business to produce the product or service. This might take some time to register. It's a difficult sentence, but quite often pricing and cost go hand in hand, and too often people relate it too much to the cost. So there is a lot of value to add. So it may or may not be tied to the cost. Another definition is pricing is the act of determining the value of a product or service. And one thing you have to remember, the importance of the brand and the brand authority, you cannot underestimate. I will already check some comments if there's some entrepreneurs here. I don't see any comments from entrepreneurs, so no examples I can give related to that. So, but these are the definitions, and maybe we can go to what pricing will hold today, because yeah, I can probably give a 2-day presentation about pricing if we would go into detail, but unfortunately we don't have that time. So today we'll go over the marketing mix. We will not calculate ourselves. I think it's quite easy to find some calculation models on the internet. You can also send me questions afterwards. But as we're in a webinar, it's very hard to interact at doing calculations. So I'll just give short insights on calculation. Then we'll go over market positioning and do some exercises. Then we go on over market segments and do some exercises. And then I think it would be good to take a break. because then we go over strategic pricing models, and I will give a lot of examples about different models. And then I hope there will be questions and we can do some more exercises. A nice quote from Warren Buffett, you can see there, price is what you pay, value is what you get. I encounter a lot of entrepreneurs telling me, like, yeah, people in Finland, for example, there's a lot of different countries, but in Finland, people are just not willing to pay for services. And in an extent, I agree, but also entrepreneurs are not willing to add value or to promote or to tell what the value exactly is with what they're offering. Sometimes it needs a little explanation. Okay, let's go to the marketing mix. I think a lot of people know the market principles Philip Kotler built in the 80s with the 4 Ps, product, price, place, and promotion. Later on, he added some extra Ps to that. People, passion, processes, physical evidence. And I think there's still some missing, but today I'm gonna add my favorite P, it's pizza. I think pizza is a great example of a product. I also want to mention that if I talk about product, almost, yeah, you can also think about services if you talk product, but I'm not always going to mention product or service. So if you're in the service business, think as it as a service. If you think of pizza and the marketing mix, yeah, it's a very simple product, but still there's so many different kind of restaurants who manage in a very competitive market. And how do they do it? Using the marketing mix very well, and in that also price. So everybody knows the pizzerias, non-branded, based on location in a certain area in the city, or a certain area outside of the city, an area where there's families. These pizzas can go for, for example, €7, €8, very cheap. Price value, quite good for the target group. Then there is also the pizzerias. In Finland, you have Kotipizza. The chains, international, I would say Pizza Hut or Sbarro, which are chains which people go to because they trust the offering. Quite often people know exactly what which pizza they want to eat, so they go there because of it. It's, yeah, they know what they will get. And if they're in a new city, they go to a new pizzeria. They don't necessarily know if it's a small pizzeria in a certain area of the city. So, and then there's the premium pizzas. There's pizzerias with wood ovens, wood heated ovens, pizzerias with a purely Italian interior, which offer a long story and history, and they charge 16, 17 euro for the pizza. So they're all in the same business. They might even be in the same street, quite close to each other, and they might all manage with the same product. So these examples you can use thinking about your own pricing. This can happen for other services as well. And I notice, for example, hairdressers can use that to some extent, but not enough. In the wellness business, it's non-existing. So wellness business, massage, nail studios, it's almost non-existing. So this is something that really can be looked at. Also, when we talk about the marketing mix, a lot of people will think about marketing as very much promotion or the place, the product, but the price is the least sexy to be creative with. So people are just going to calculate, look what the competition does, maybe calculate the cost, and then try to hang on. In the strategic examples, the different pricing strategies, we will see what is possible. So we will get to that later. People, passion, process have all very much effect on pricing. If you have professional people with passion, in restaurants, people give a tip to professional people who have passion. As the same in other businesses, these people will get more customers and will be able to raise their prices. Processes, if you run a tight ship, you know your costs, you know exactly your process. It might be that you have a bigger margin than a competitor with a lower sales price. Physical evidence, yeah, I talked about branding. So how does it look on the outside? How does your restaurant look? How does the tablecloths, if you have takeaway pizza, is it a generic box or do you have a branded box? So they're all ambassadors, messengers for your business. So although this is basic knowledge, I don't think people reconsider this on a yearly basis, what their marketing mix is, which elements to add, and which elements could add to a better price and higher profit. So I recommend, even if you're alone as an entrepreneur, to sometimes step away from your business, look at these simple words, product, price, place, analyze where you are, and then maybe with a consultant or with another friend in the same business, play with this so you really keep a clear advantage of your competitor or can create more value so your product or service is more attractive. So we can go on how to calculate. So how to calculate your pizza. So I talked about the different pizzerias, the premium pizzas in town, usually one or two restaurants, really destinations within the city that, hey, this is the place to be if you want a good pizza. There you see the brand importance, but all these pizzerias, they have to pay for raw materials, salaries, packaging, freight costs. These are direct costs. Indirect costs, maintenance costs, business premises, and advertising will have an effect as well. You count these together, you add a sales margin, what is good for your business. In pizzeria, you can limit the amount of food that needs to be thrown away. This can be limited as well with offering lunches, for example. So very important to keep this in the process, to limit waste, because waste is a cost. And then the better brand you have, the more margin you can put, because the ingredients, the raw materials, the salaries quite often are quite similar in the premium restaurant as in the generic pizzeria on the corner. I know this sounds simplistic, but quite often it's still not used in pricing. Just look at the competitors, copy the price, put €1 less, and that should be fine. And at the end of the month, check, oh, it's profitable, it's fine. don't fall for that. I think it's much wiser not to follow and to be a leader and be in control of your costs, your profit, and your margin. So factors affecting pricing. There's many factors. I just mentioned a few. Demand. Oh yeah, of course, demand. Everybody says now, yes, demand is really important. But how do you see it in pricing? We all laugh with COVID, with the toilet paper. Everybody bought toilet paper. The demand was big, but the price was still the same. In Finland, it was the same, but not in all countries. When I was living in Paris, I noticed that one of the biggest supermarket chains in Europe, Carrefour, they put already in 2000 on the racks where the products are, they put digital pricing badges. And when I asked about it, I said, "Wow, yeah, that's interesting." So you don't need to put these papers anymore in where the price is. So you save in cost of personnel. And they said, yes, that's true. You know, it's a lot of time that people, you know, put these labels where the product is and the price is there. And they said, yes, but we also know how much stock we have. So if a product is ending, the system already, and that was back in 2000, the system detected it and put the price a bit higher. The last products were a bit more expensive. But at the same time, also an order went out to order more toilet paper. Again, sounds logical, but in many countries, I still don't see it. So if there's big demand, you have to be able to raise prices. And if that's not possible in the system, you have to think of a system that it is possible. If we talk about wellness, a physiotherapist, for example, is depending on time. As a physiotherapist, you have maybe 40 hours a week, and you have, for certain treatments, certain pricing. That's fine. But usually physiotherapists are open from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon. And when I talked to my physiotherapist, I said, yeah, well, I don't really have time to come during the day. I said, why don't you do a pricing for the evening? He says, yeah, but that people are not willing to pay. I said, well, give it a try. So he opened up 2 evenings a week because he didn't want to work too much, but he took a few hours away from his normal daytime, so he can take care of certain things during the day. And he works 2 hours longer at certain evenings at a price which is much higher. And he's booked 3 months in advance. So, and he did the same for the weekends because he doesn't like Sunday evening. So he starts working on Sunday evening already, fully booked for 3 months and at premium price. This has enabled him to have a better quality of life, to manage better, to plan better, because during the week he can take some inefficient hours off, hours where he doesn't get premium price. And he planned his physiotherapy business totally on pricing. He's now hiring staff which will be coming in to work on the other evenings, and so on. So good pricing gives perspective as well for investing. There is great demand for these different kind of services on other times, and the competition hasn't followed. So it's a monopoly in his city. He can put the price where he wants. Cost of that, the cost of production. There's no cost for a massage or a physiotherapist to be there in the evening. when he's there himself, but the costs when their staff is different, especially during the weekend, but it's calculated in the pricing. And the customer view on value is really important here. A lot of customers are so happy that they can come in the evening because they can't skip 1 or 2 hours from work to go to physiotherapy. It's just impossible. So people are very relieved, very happy to pay that price. And one thing that you can also add here is digitalizing. Through digitalization, he has been able to keep the cost down. He doesn't need to answer the phone, so it's just booking. The bookings come in through the internet, so it's much more cost efficient that nobody needs to answer the phone for these bookings. So we can go to some other examples. Okay, no, I covered these already. We can go to the next slide, to the market positioning. I like pizza, but I think also cars and electronics are good examples for pricing and marketing cases. These brands have done their homework, although some of them are still struggling because markets are changing. They're global companies. I think a lot of small business owners haven't thought about this, like where do they want to position themselves in the market? And if you haven't thought about this, this is a problem. I want to give an example of Dacia. Dacia is a sub-brand from Renault. It's the most sold car in Europe of 2020. That news came just a few months ago, and they really have focused on an interesting niche, a very price-conscious niche, and it's a very profitable company. It's more profitable than Renault because of their processes. And the brand came in 10 years. It's become very popular, and it has exceeded Volkswagen in sales and number of cars. Low quality doesn't mean low margin. Low price doesn't mean low margin either. It's a matter of processes. I think a good example for these processes is if you look at this, where do you want to be? In the middle, where you see Renault, Volkswagen, Ford, Toyota, the lower price range, there's very tough competition. Margins are very low for the dealers. Marketing budgets are huge and risks are big. I like the book Blue Ocean Strategy, and yeah, I would ask if there would be an audience listening, like who has heard of this I would ask like who has read the book, but you can also go to blueoceanstrategy.com. There's a lot of articles. You can also order the book there. But basically, the idea is that blue ocean is a place where you go and compete, where there's not a lot of competitors. Red Sea is where Volkswagen, Ford, Renault, Citroën, Toyota, and Honda are. The competition is fierce. The sharks are in the Red Sea, biting each other's neck off. And then comes Dacia, finding a blue ocean and running with the sales numbers, just out of the blue almost. Same happened with Tesla. Tesla is not here. The big brands didn't see it coming. Crazy entrepreneur, Elon Musk. He just creates a blue ocean, and the rest has to follow. Tesla was able to put the price wherever he wanted. But also, Elon Musk didn't invent the electric car. He didn't reinvent it even. He pushed innovation. He solved some logistic problems concerning the charging stations. But what he reinvented was the sales process. You don't have to buy the car from a car shop. So pricing wise, Mini did already something like it, where you could buy Minis in a stacked store, also almost from an automat, like a dispenser, like a Coca-Cola dispenser in a health center where you take a bottle of Coke. There was the mini shops in Central Europe where you could go and you saw the Mini stacked, and then you bought the Mini, and then it just scrolled down and you rolled away. So that was about 20 years ago already, but Elon Musk totally embraced digital car sales. Okay, blue. Oh, I see a question about the blue. This car study. It's an interesting example. Heidi, I don't have the exact address here for the study, but I found it. I think if you just check Dacia car sales or most popular cars in Europe, you will see the Dacia sales numbers and articles about how Dacia has entered the market. Yeah, I think we can move on to the other slide already, and then the next one as well. So what I often notice as well when talking to entrepreneurs, they're not sure where their target group is, who they are. They basically, in the marketing mix, they say, yeah, well, I'm in this place, I sell to these people. But I think it's good to pause for a while and think about who do I want to sell to? Who do I target to? I actually had a customer yesterday, and we were talking about marketing and growth, and small business turnover 150,000 euro, and I congratulated her because she did 150,000 euro turnover without sales, active sales, without any marketing, without any consideration, without considering like who might be her customers. So that you have great potential. So let's look at these things, and once you really start knowing the demographic, like to which age group do I need to promote my products? Do I need to move my shop to another place where the demographic is better for me? So age, gender, family size, family life, income level, these are all things included in demographic, and small business owners, they just don't think about this enough, and easily can increase sales or prices when thought about this. Then social classes, lifestyles, that is the psychographic part of this market segment. This will have an influence. Combine these, if you want to advertise on Facebook or in Google, you can really target very sharply different demographics, different groups. So if you have done this analysis, the guessing work when advertising in Facebook is much is non-existent. It's much easier. And I see a lot of people, Facebook or Google, we want to advertise. They put a lot of money there or very little money, and they target to everybody. And yes, we have a big reach and no sales. So it's good to go over these first parts: demographic, psychographic influences, behavioral influence, the purchase occasion. Are you a baker selling cakes? Well, there probably needs to be an occasion. So for cake, there needs to be occasion. It's probably going to be a weekend. It's going to be a birthday. It's going to be a marriage. But for bread, the occasion is every day, every morning, every evening. So you might have to think like, okay, if I have a clothing shop specialized in wedding dresses, there needs to be a demographic or a geographic situation that there's enough people in the region, in the city, that you can specialize on only these dresses. Otherwise, it might be better to have a clothing shop with a wedding dress section. So you can also sell business clothing or clothing for other occasions or for just leisure use. So usually we do this analysis, and doing this, you always come to conclusions which are surprising. For example, in a hotel, you offer a bed and shelter or an experience. So that might have an influence if people are looking for a wedding night, are they looking to celebrate, or just to relax, or if it's just a sales rep traveling from city to city on a budget. So hotels are a good example for these pricing segments. So in every city you have the budget hotel, the premium hotel, the middle-sized hotel with good bonus points which can gather. So and depending again on the geographics. So for example, a hotel in the middle of nowhere in Lapland, Airbnb is not a competition. But Airbnb is a big competition for hotels in cities. Or is it? Because quite often when hotels are fully booked, Airbnb, okay, it's in some part competition, but if you're in a city, a lot of hotels think that travelers only, or travel is measured by overnights, and I think a traveler can also come for a day without an overnight and spend money in a city and visit the city. But a lot of Airbnb has made travel possible for people who were not able to travel before. So people will travel more because of Airbnb, and the travel growth because of Airbnb probably has been investigated, but a lot of people just want to stay in this traditional thinking of yeah, but we need to promote the hotel overnight. I understand hotels pay, as a hotel entrepreneur, you pay different taxes than Airbnb, and some apartment buildings are more like hotels than apartment buildings where people rent out their flat for a short time. But still, times are changing, and customer needs are changing. When I travel, I don't use Airbnb very often, maybe once a year, but I still use it because sometimes I don't need hotel services. And still, I spend money in the city, and that's what it is about, getting people spending money in the city or at the destination you are. They help the economy in that city and the employment. It's not only the hotels. So I think, but some rules there should be that, you cannot open a whole apartment building based on Airbnb sales. And the idea that Airbnb doesn't even own anything, it's just a website. It's fantastic. I'm going to give another example of quite in Finland and pricing. There was a men's hairdresser chain, M-Room, 10 years ago, even more. Was growing really fast. They really did their marketing mix homework. They also did this segmenting very well. Only men, no appointments. Price-wise, very, very reasonable. While they were washing your hair, they were selling membership. Oh, membership. Okay. You can come in anytime for a coffee or a drink, free of charge. You can get discount on products. And because there's no appointments, you can pass the line. I think that's very innovative thinking. They also came in the market with an aggressive price. Once they got the customer base, once they expanded to every city in Finland, they hired the prices and they looked at and still they're there. Some customers probably dropped away because of the prices, but the concept worked, and they got to the market very fast. They saw a niche for people who don't want to make an appointment. Oh, my hair is long. I have 10 minutes now. Let's go into M-Room. Any other examples?
Yeah, sorry. I think that the same example of this can be seen here in Joensuu. There is a massage center, relax massage or something that you can actually get the membership as well and get your massages a bit more cheaper. But of course you have to have the annual fee. So that idea has been broadened into other areas of business.
But you have to make an appointment. And the thing is, a lot of people notice they have a gap. Everybody's very busy and they have a gap in time, and then, next week I can come. Then not everybody there's a big market for people who are impulsive and want something now. Cost of labor in Finland makes it very difficult, but digitalization can help that. Massage therapist, if you have a massage salon, you can have an app for the members and then say like availability now. So you can also check from an app like, okay, there is availability, so I'll book it right. I'm there in 15 minutes. Boom. And yeah, the physiotherapist I'm talking about is working on things like that. So fill the gaps. I've seen so many hairdressers waiting for customers, and then you come in and they say, "Oh yeah, do you have time?" "No, I have an appointment coming." Expensive time, the rent runs, the costs run, and you're not working because somebody has an appointment. Should also be a reflex, like, is it just cutting or is it? So I think a lot of gaps have to be filled, and yeah, it's just sad to wait for appointments. Same in restaurants, you know, reserve tables, let people wait in a certain concept. And when there's a line in the restaurant, that's good marketing. Other comments? So we can continue after the break. Maybe had some thoughts on the pricing strategies, segments, on value creating. But now we go deeper into strategic pricing models and combinations of these different models. So if you can go 2 slides forward, Sato, then we can see some of these exact. So most basic and most known pricing strategy is the cost-based pricing. What I mentioned already earlier, supermarkets, for example, they basically check the cost and put their margin on it and make it as cheap as possible according to the positioning and the marketing of the supermarket. Lidl, for example, or some other in different countries. There are supermarkets which are really known for sharp pricing because they have mostly focused it on very good buying and processes, on efficient processes, on limiting the cost of labor, and any additional costs. Everything is taken into account. These are machines, these price-breaking supermarkets, Walmart, and so on. They are focused on every detail of efficiency within the business. Same for Ryanair. Ryanair uses a combination of different strategies, but Ryanair is a very interesting case. It's as Airbnb is, Ryanair opened a new travel market, gave possibilities to visit their families more than once a year, where before people, you know, living in different countries were able to buy one ticket a year and often had to sacrifice their holiday money to visit family members. Now, you know, with Ryanair, 50 euro, you fly anywhere to Europe, back and forth. Ryanair focused on costs already in the early days before internet. You know, there were no booking. Well, they worked sometime with booking agents, but fast they noticed the cost, the commission. It's too much, so they wanted to skip that, and they had different booking models. And then when the internet came, they were the first to have internet bookings. And for example, the CEO of Ryanair, even at the desks, at the check-in desks, he didn't want to have Ryanair pens there, you know, the pen with the logo on, which every airline has. He said, no, in the airport there's enough pens, but take the pens from the biros from the competitor, because it costs them 10 cents and that makes their tickets more expensive than ours. So he's really crazy in limiting costs. Things have changed as well for Ryanair, but I really enjoyed reading a Ryanair book and got some insight on how they do it, because it still seems impossible to fly back and forth across Europe for you know, for 50 euro. That's just amazing. Competitive pricing, the second one. Also quite often know that as penetration pricing. I already gave the example from M-Room, the hairdresser. So getting into the market with an aggressive price, 20 euro for a haircut. I think these days, you know, you don't leave M-Room for a price. I think the haircut is around 32 euro. So they're actually on the more expensive side already, but they have created their own following, their own culture, their club members and so on, offering value, not focusing on the price, only on the price focused customer. They want to give that experience. Spec savers, when they're coming to market, they're very aggressive. They're always good in price, but again, once they're in the market, they have found the customer base, the prices go steadily up. Dressman, when Dressman comes to a city, they often open up 2 or 3 shops, not one. They open up the shops, they have good promotions, Dressman is not expensive. They wait until competitors leave, and then they close 1 or 2 of their own shops and try to get all the traffic to that one shop and make that shop very, very profitable. That is very, very aggressive, pricing wise, but also expansion wise. XXL sports stores in Finland. XXL is a Norwegian company, same owners as Giganti, also present in many countries. Same owners, basically, same founders, same strategy. Get into the market with the widest range possible for the lowest price possible. And they noticed in the Finnish market, for example, that sports shops didn't offer a wide range of products, didn't really follow the seasons, didn't really have a year calendar, which was very sharp on which week you offer what. It was just, bulk, and if it was there, you bought it. If it wasn't there, you bought it from the internet. The XXL shop experience is quite different from any other sports shops in Finland, for example. In Central Europe, there is a sports store chain, Decathlon, totally different again from XXL, but price-wise, half the price of any other brands with good products. They have some major brands in their store to attract, but most of the brands are in-house brands, so they have their own production. These days they have their own production facilities, so they own the production. I put in the comments Decathlon, so you can go to decathlon.com or Decathlon and check it out. But also the experience, the stores are very large, and in every aisle of the shop there is a salesperson responsible for a certain sports branch. So equestrians has a specialist in equestrian, tennis. So you always get the premium advice, premium advice at a very low price. So I haven't seen any other chains going for that concept, but it is something that can be used on a smaller scale if you're an entrepreneur who also produces his or her own product. Demand-based pricing is often used in combination with cost-based pricing, or on the lower it's time-based pricing. So it's quite often used in combination. Any questions about cost-based pricing, competitive pricing, examples?
I'm trying to see if there's any hands raised. I'm trying to monitor the chat box.
I'm still trying to activate by asking questions.
Yeah, that's nice, and keep doing that. Yes, I'm sure that somebody will response to you. But I have a question on my mind because there's a lot of new things, and you mentioned in the beginning of the Saima cycle tour.
Yes.
I would like to know into which category does this company fit into when considering these pricing models, strategy pricing models?
Good question. We use different pricing models depending on the time of the year, like hotels do. So we have an early booking price. This year, after the event, we haven't had an early bird booking promotion after the event. Last year we didn't have it because the event was organized first time in July. But the event was this year on the 9th of July. I think on the 13th of July, we opened an early booking offer at €100. So I mentioned already before that the prices are around 150 to 170 euro to participate. So that pricing is almost premium pricing if you look at the list there. There's also price skimming because it's a new event, so high price when introduced, but there's always a risking with this price skimming because you get a high price, and if people pay a high price and get disappointed, you have to be careful with that. So other examples of price skimming, PlayStation, Tesla, Apple, they use this price skimming. They really go for the early adopters, the people who want something new. Yes, I want to. So we targeted to these kind of cyclists who really were looking for something new. We were happy to see so many to register. And with price skimming, you have the risk. If it's not okay, your concept is over. There's no turning back. With us, we did a great event, and with the early bird booking that was going from the 3rd of July till the end of August, we had over 600 paid registrations. We also had hundreds of people contacting us that they want to come with a group. So basically in 2 months' time, we had as much registrations as we had participants on the 9th of July. So we used this price skimming, high price when reduced, premium because it's exclusive. The way our service points are organized, the kind of food you get 2-3 times warm food. There's massage at the service points. That's what make it premium. Other events don't do that. It's a bit like a boutique event.
So a lot of clever strategies used,
yes.
and that shows a courage, I think. And you mentioned that you have to take risk, but entrepreneurship is about taking risks.
Yes, but I still want to say that when we launched the event 1 year ago, and our price was at €130 to introduce the event, and people saw that after New Year it would go to 150 and later to 170. All these cyclists there, a lot of them are on the internet in different forums and so on. We got a lot of, sorry for my words, a lot of shit. This price, this is crazy, this is ridiculous, and so on. It stopped on the 10th of July.
Hey, we have a comment in the chat. So could you check that out? Actually, 2 comments. So if you could see those and respond.
Yeah, Ryanair. I read the comment here. Ryanair seems to fall out with a lot of people. Did they not pull out of Northern Ireland recently? Therefore, their competitive sometimes leads to them deleting a service for regions that have got used to having there. Oh, Ryanair is, it's an example here, but it's an example in pricing, but and the way they get the cost low is the fees of the airports they negotiate are very low. I think they sometimes even get paid to come to a certain airport. So where you have to fly to a national airport like Dublin or the fees are very high. Sometimes Ryanair goes there, but usually they had small regions that they with an airport where they flew to, and they suck the council empty. They ask for so much funds to keep flying. So that's why probably Northern Ireland, where they pull out, they don't get the funds from the council, the city council, or the area, then they don't fly anymore. And there is an economic impact for that, of course, but every region needs to decide if they want Ryanair or not. And Ryanair's model doesn't work if there's no funding from regions, I think. I hope I answered that question. And then there was somebody who has to leave.
Elizabeth, if you have anything you would like to continue commenting to leave, and please just open your mic. And
hello, yes. Yeah, airlines just drive me nuts. The more people that book, the higher the prices. Surely if you get lots of people on your flight, you're making money anyway. You shouldn't do that. They just completely drive me nuts. And if you book a flight in several stages, and you miss a stage through no fault of your own, the rest of your flight is void, so you can't get back home at all. And it just drives me absolutely nuts, the pricing of flights and how they operate that. To my mind, if you book
Ryanair flights or flights in general.
Flights in general. I had a flight booked to go to Singapore, and then I went to Hong Kong. I was supposed to go to a meeting in Taiwan and then back to the same airport and then fly home. And I couldn't get to Taiwan. There was a mark on some issue on my passport, and they said the police wouldn't let me out of Taiwan if I went back there. And so I said to the guys, that's okay, I'll miss out the leg to Taiwan, and I'm coming back to this airport tomorrow anyway to fly home. And they said, no, your entire flight is void now because you didn't undertake the Taiwan leg. And that's a bit of a crazy pricing thing. You paid for the whole thing. It should be my flight. It should have been up to me what I did with my flight, but it's not. Some of this pricing is not good.
It's some of the pricing is questionable, but it's also a high risk business. When the seats are not filled, it's very expensive. And there's also the small letters with the ordering, cancellation and so on, reclamations. Airlines make it difficult to complain, but Ryanair is extreme in this. They have a reputation, and O'Leary, the CEO, or I'm not sure if he's still the CEO, but he said, yeah, if you don't like it, don't fly with us. And I think that's what you experience, Elizabeth, a lot with airlines. So. But I think other airlines give a lot of possibilities as well. If you plan well, you can get cheap flights where you just can't get by car or any other transportation model at all for such a price. So, but I agree, it's not always. You don't always feel served as a customer. They're sometimes Sunderlands just are happy to take your money.
Yeah, but he's a very wealthy man now, O'Leary, so it obviously worked for him.
But for him, it's all about the money. It's not about serving or even flying or it's just he has passion, but it's about money. It's not about people. So thank you, Elizabeth, for that comment.
Thank you.
Any other comments? So if no comments, demand-based pricing, airlines is a good example of this. Hotel business, if there's demand, the prices will go up. The the pricing, you can actually, if you look at dynamic pricing, it's quite close. So the Carrefour shops who change their pricing according to how much is in the shelves, but there is also fuel stations in Belgium, for example, who measure the air temperature and cloudiness, because they depend. There's not much money to be made on fuel. They make their money on the drinks they sell, the magazines, the food. So if temperatures get high, they know there's going to be a big demand in Coca-Cola, and if they see Coca-Cola the fridges start to empty, the price goes up. They have good software calculating this in connection with weather reports, in connection with the traffic going down that highway, and the time of the day, and the price is just constantly, it changes before your eyes. You look at it, it's €2.50. By the time your hand is in the fridge, it's €2.90. So, but nobody forbids it. It's it's a question of demand. And if you're thirsty and it's hot, I want my cold Coca-Cola in the car, and I'll buy it for any price. But in many countries, it's not at this level that the pricing is measuring weather and so on. I think also small entrepreneurs, I already told that I have an importing company in clothing. Once or twice a year we're at an event. I sell rain jackets. When the sun shines, they're in promotion, but when the sun doesn't shine and it's raining, they're not in promotion. I'm not going to say I higher the price, because I don't, but the promotion is gone. I'm not selling at reduced price. So a lot of entrepreneurs miss a little bit this possibility, because there's a limited, the fixed costs are there, and you can optimize the income. This is also called yielding in the travel and airline industry. Somebody is probably opening the microphone. So is there a question?
Yeah, I tried to mute the person. Lieven, Elizabeth continues commenting there about the petrol costs in the UK. So I'm not sure. Would you like to have a bit more on that?
It's just to say that you were saying about the prices go up depending on demand, and petrol is exactly the same in the UK at the moment. They're going up. It's just increasing on a daily basis.
Yes, but that's everywhere like that. But petrol stations as well, they might have different prices in the middle of the day or in the evening. In the evening, when people are driving home, it's different. In Finland, for example, in the north of Finland, and when the holiday comes up, the fuel prices go up. In my hometown of Rovaniemi, there's one fueling station. People go there on Tuesday because it's cheaper. Dynamic pricing, is it annoying? It's, as an entrepreneur, you need to use this. For customers, it's possibilities, but yeah, it's one example. The fuel stations, fuel prices, but Elizabeth, the raising of the price, there's nothing you can do. When the economy goes up, the demand is so big for oil. Plus, oil is still different because there's a cartel deciding about the oil prices in the Middle East.
Yeah, it's the same with the energy companies. There's so many smaller companies going out of business now, and it's just crazy costs, and people are having to make decisions about whether to eat and heat their homes or heat their homes. It's crazy at the moment.
Yeah, for entrepreneurs now, because COVID will influence the prices so much. The next year's prices will go so much up. If you notice that your buying prices are going to increase with, double-digit numbers, so more than 10%, I suggest already to increase prices slightly in steps, because if people see a price increase by 20%, they get shocked. So if you can do it smoothly and prevent the shocks. I have an example about because I'm involved in cycling business and cycling rental you know, the electric bikes we have costed last year 5,000 euro, and next year they will cost the same level bike with worse parts will cost 6,500 euro, price increase of 1,500 euro. Yeah, because there's big demand, there's not a lot of containers. So what happens, you look for competition. So it needs to be done in steps, the price increase, and otherwise it's you know, it's going to push away customers and it's going to make them angry. Everybody understands the situation with COVID until they have to pay. So better to bring it softly and in steps, these price changes. And tell why. Any other question, Elizabeth?
No, not for me. Just the world we live in at the moment.
So price skimming, we already went over that. High price when introduced, really a lot of buzz about something new, a new PlayStation coming out, a new Tesla coming out, and then when the early adopters have bought it and found it positive, it goes to the majority of consumers, and the price starts gradually going down because also competitors have come up with it. Basically, a good example of this is the iPhone earplugs, these iPod earplugs. First, you know, big hustle. I think they're 200-300 euro, these original versions, and then yeah, the competition comes up with cheaper versions, 25 to 50 euro, and then also the price from Apple slightly starts going down. Premium brands, when talking about Sima Cycle Tour cycling event, we touched this. iPhone is a premium brand as well. Apple is a tremendous example in many things. But another example is also wine, because wine has a certain year might be much better than another year in wine, and there's also a limitation to the number of bottles. So it allows for premium pricing. It's an exclusive product. Champagne is limited to certain regions, so very good for a premium pricing strategy. Does anybody know what is freemium?
Never heard. Has anybody else heard?
What do you mean? What the definition of premium is?
Freemium. What is freemium pricing? What is? Can you give an example of a brand who uses freemium pricing?
Not sure I can give an example. No.
Skype.
Sorry?
Everybody knows Skype. Everybody uses
Skype. Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skype. So Google. So they offer a free service used by many people, and at the end of the line, you can do upgrades. Dropbox, you can use it freely, or you can buy the business version. And yeah, people, you know, also for small entrepreneurs, there might be some opportunities there, but usually it's connected to Canva. Yeah, I see Canva. I use that a lot. Very good. But also for small entrepreneurs, if you're developing an app or some reservation system, if we go back to the wellness salon in Joensuu, for example, they have this card. They can make free videos for their members, or even not for members, or certain events which are free. that's freemium as well. If you organize an event for your customers or for potential customers, free of charge. People get, the idea behind is that people get used to it. They find the value. And then once they're used to it, like, okay, this is valuable to me, I'll pay. I don't listen to Spotify ads anymore. I pay not to hear them. Oh yeah, Spotify is just in the comments.
Yeah, just at exact same minute that you showed it out loud. Yeah.
Yeah, but imagine it's a strategy. Everybody knows it, but if you stop for a while, it's really smart. It's really smart, and it's almost always used by big companies or hustlers. First one for free, and then you get, this is a joke, yeah, the first one's for free and then you pay for it. Yeah. But that's how the market, in the old times when people went to the market, to the supermarket still, you have these tasters, you taste it. So let people taste of the value you create, and then they'll be ready to pay. And that's the problem with the entrepreneurs. They're not ready to pay. Let them taste first. Create a freemium product. Invite a friend for free. Get 10% off when you bring a friend for to get acquainted to your services. Things like that can be combined. Price discrimination. Certain demographics, bus company, when you're retired, you get certain reductions on a certain age in the swimming pool. This quite often for public services, different pricing, I think in hairdressers as well, but I think it can be used as an attraction for certain groups at certain times, certain prices. And this gets easier when things are digital, because it keeps track of time. You can see, okay, when I go then, price for the family is this, kids free on that time, not free at that time. And like that, you optimize the capacity of whatever you're offering. Time-based pricing, we touched on this, airlines, events. The Sima Cycle Tour offered early bird offer 1 year in advance, and then the closer you get to the event, it gets more expensive. Hotels, fueling stations, all examples of time-based pricing. Fuel stations higher their price when there's a lot of traffic. And dynamic pricing is the combination of this time-based price discrimination, demand-based pricing. This dynamic pricing is a way, it's dynamic when it's optimized and digitalized and automized. When it's not automatically, it takes too much energy and it's getting expensive. It takes the focus away from serving or the product itself. So it needs to be as automatic as possible. You can always test it by changing prices manually, but after a while it should be automatic. There's more pricing models and strategies than this, but a combination of these will help a business thrive. These are not used enough by small entrepreneurs because they focus on what usually is the conception of marketing, so basically promotion, advertising, but not on what the role of price could be in this, of smart pricing. So I had an exercise in mind about pricing model. I think we have to skip this. So maybe it's good to go to this part. The art of marketing is the art of brand building. If you're not a brand, you're a commodity. Then price is everything, and the low-cost producer is the only winner. And that's what the entrepreneur told me, like, people are not willing to pay for my product. So they didn't create a brand. I often talk about destination. You can make your massage salon, your hairdress salon, you can make it a destination, a brand. Then pricing is much easier. An example from the Arctic Light Hotel to this is the breakfast. Hotel breakfasts generally in the city where I live in Rovaniemi were at that time in 2015 12 euro for walk-in customers, and there was no culture for people living in the city to go just for a breakfast or brunch to a hotel. We created an exceptional breakfast together with a famous television cook, and we charged at the beginning 25 euro. After 1 week, need to limit it, the amount of people coming in for breakfast, and because we needed to focus on our guests as well. People drove as far as 250 kilometers just to have breakfast. Even within the hotel, which also was a destination, the breakfast became a destination at that point. We could ask that price, there was demand, we could limit it, we had to limit even, we need to increase the price even more to keep the quality and the service. And that is possible for almost any product or service. Just rethink, be creative, and focus on the value. So I hope with this end quote from Kotler that, although there's not many entrepreneurs listening, that one of the keywords is value, and that if you can help an entrepreneur, you just ask him, what is the value you offer for the customer? What does he benefit from it? That needs to come in 1 second, right away. Thank you for listening. If you have questions, please, this is the moment. My contact information you can also find from the slides. And I'm happy to discuss these matters or any matters in marketing or customer experiences, which are my specializations. Thank you.